exposing how Quranic healers are sexually abusing women in Morocco and Sudan. A harrowing report by BBC News Arabic has exposed the widespread sexual abuse and exploitation by Quranic healers, also known as raqi, in Morocco and Sudan. These so called spiritual healers were found to be manipulating and assaulting their female clients. Over a year, the BBC gathered testimonies from 85 women and corroborated their stories with NGOs, courts, lawyers, and even an undercover reporter who was inappropriately touched by a healer. One victim, a Moroccan woman named Dalal, oh my God, this story is so bad. Just heads up, this is horrible, was drugged and RAPE'd by a healer who claimed to be exorcising a jinn lover from her body. Another victim, Sawsan from Sudan, this is so crazy, was told by a healer that he would have sex with her to create a potion to control her husband. I can give more details about that. The report also identified Sheikh Ibrahim in Sudan, who was accused by multiple women, including an undercover journalist. Authorities in both countries appeared reluctant to tackle the issue, with Moroccan officials describing legal intervention as difficult and Sudanese authorities saying regulations were not a priority. Sawsan's chilling words encapsulated the horrifying experience. Quote, he said he would have sex with me and use the resulting body fluids to concoct a potion I should feed my husband. Her stories and others like it expose a hidden world of exploitation under the guise of sexual healing. Excuse me, spiritual healing. Spiritual healing. Okay, so I'll give more background. So BBC Arabic put out a very lengthy report about this. And it not only was it a report, it was actually a miniature documentary that they made. So I watched the documentary. It's about half an hour long. Guys can go watch it on YouTube. And it talks about how so in many Islamic countries, I believe, people can correct me, but I believe this is more common in Sunni communities to believe in, it's called ruqya, right? Like basically exorcism, or like a spiritual intervention to get essentially demons, bad spirits, out of your body to cleanse yourself spiritually. And this is commonly done through readings and recitations of the Quran. So kind of supposed to be like, oh, the word of Allah can be the thing that cleanses this from you. And some of the people who do these Quranic healings are known as raqi. And I don't know how common it is in different communities, but it seems to be pretty prominent in Morocco and Sudan. And it's really interesting because I guess in many ways, this would be one of the few instances in certain cultures and communities where men would have solo, unsupervised access to women, right? Because it's like, oh, it's just like the two of us need to go do this by ourselves. So I can give you this intervention like in secrecy, confidence, all that, blah, blah, blah. And unsurprisingly, many of these healers use this opportunity to take advantage of women. And the one victim that I mentioned in this summary called Dalal, her full story is so horrific and bad. Like, I don't even know if I want to go into the full thing because it's so horrible. But unfortunately, when these women are taken advantage of, abused, they don't really have any recourse because one, their testimony is not taken seriously, especially because this happens in secluded spaces, right? They're like, there's no witness. There is no witness. What am I supposed to do? By nature, I'm alone with this man. Two, if they're making the decision to come out against very strong and reputable men in their community, so balance of power is stacked against them. Three, if they're coming forth and admitting that this happened to them, they are actually going to be accused of wanting it themselves, being at fault for it, for not knowing better, essentially, or worst case scenario, they can have charges brought against them for adultery or having premarital sex. Right? They can actually face legal consequences for this kind of things. The crime will instead be turned on them. And not to mention the fact that if a woman comes forward and says that this happened to me, she actually could become at risk of honor violence and honor killings herself because she herself was abused. And it now becomes a mark and stain against the family's honor. And they have to address that accordingly. So there's just so many different levels about how the construction of society has made these women specifically incredibly vulnerable. And the problem is the BBC did all this work, investigative work, to expose how systematic this is in a lot of these communities. And in Morocco, they were just basically completely dismissed it. And then in Sudan, the authorities were like, basically, to be very frank, we have so much political instability going on right now. This is just not on our map. Like we can't even, this is not a priority in any way, shape, or form. So despite all this evidence, they like nothing really came of it. This really intense investigation that they did. And in this investigation, they even had one woman go specifically to have a session with a guy who had several accusations against him. He essentially assaulted her. They caught it on video and nothing happened, which I thought was incredibly brave, because this woman had to go against in a secluded space to go see this man. And I'm like, you know, when you go into that room that you're risking assault, and like to decide to put yourself in that position as a journalist is, I mean, damn, I wouldn't do that. So now that I provide a lot more details about this investigation
and nothing
documentary.
Yeah, go on. And nothing happened? Like just like okay, yeah, this guy is doing that, and just like, okay.
They confronted him about it. He completely denied it. They're like, we literally have this on camera. They went to go confront another guy who was like doing sexy talk with women on the phone as part of like their intervention in healing.
Like,
I mean, really, really,
like,
really
hey, like,
disgusting,
hey, we have
exploitative behavior.
They're like, we have a video of you saying this, and you'd be like, nope. And I'm like, okay. Like, we have video footage of you saying these things and doing these things.
Not even saying, we have video evidence of you touching and groping our journalist.
And the guy was like, no. And they were like, okay, good, we resolved this. Thank you for the talk. Bye. See you later. That's it. Okay. Amazing.
Like, the only thing they can do is just put this evidence out there and have the community respond, because the authorities themselves are not going to respond.
Okay. And this is guys, Morocco. This is not Saudi Arabia. This is not Pakistan. Okay. This is not Iran. Okay. This is Morocco. This is supposed to be one of the better Islamic countries. Just so we're clear here, right? You know, I want to admire BBC for doing this. Because BBC is considered to be a mainstream media that doesn't touch, as you know, something that is Islamic like this. So thank you, BBC, for doing this. However, I wouldn't recognize that this has anything to do with Islam with the title. I mean, I can see a mosque there, but that's like kind of blurred. Like this could be a Christian country. This could be just like, look at the title: investigating the spiritual healers sexually abusing women. Like, if I was just scrolling through this could be, I don't know, not Islamic related at all. This could be just like some people with more, new age religion, spiritual
Exactly.
healers.
I would think that it's some new age nonsense.
This is what I thought. Without clicking on it when I first saw this. By the way, Elliot sent this to me. Thank you, Elliot. Elliot is Secularity. I thought this is some new age stuff. I didn't even know this has anything to do with Islam or Quran. So why is there no Islam, no Quran? These are Quran healers. there's no Quran in the title, there's no Islam in the title, and the only thing I mean, I didn't even recognize that was a mosque because it was kind of blurred in the background. I didn't even recognize, like, there seems to be shying away. They don't want to do you think they did this on purpose, not to be too controversial? I think a lot of people didn't click on this because they didn't understand what this is about. I think they were being
Probably.
intentional. Yeah. I think they took the Islamic parts. I mean, the people, I think there's, like, within BBC, there's different people working, right? I think the people who are doing the final edit are not as brave as the people who tried to decide that this is something worthy of investigating. Like, these are different people. Some people went and risked so much to come to investigate something and did something brave and worthy of attention. But the people who are in BBC, who are just sitting in their office and not risking anything, they decided that they don't even want to risk the controversy. I feel like, I'm like, I don't know, this is what I'm feeling. I'm loving and hating this at the same time. But like, I'm loving certain parts of BBC that decided to do this, and I'm also hating another part of BBC that decided that they are not going to put the honest title and caption for this news. After all the effort that gone through it, this is how they're presenting it. Do you understand my anger here?
Oh, completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Treating this with kid gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Let's have sex so we could use the fluids to give it to your husband. That's not what I said. And to do what with? And this is Islam.
This is so gross because the whole thing was that her husband basically left her in poverty to go have a second wife. And so she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do something spiritual to try to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went to this guy and he was like, "Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the solution is that we need to have sex and then we're going to take the body fluids left afterwards and you're going to feed it to your husband and that's the solution."
And what
She
happened?
left and
And
she left. She didn't, and she was like, hell no. She left, but she didn't report him to anyone.
Mm. So I really want to know what goes on. Like, I thought she would buy this. Okay. Well, how does that work? Like, Islamically, I want you to explain that. How does, like, I wish I could, somebody would like pretend like, okay, I'm buying this, but I need to know exactly how you figure this out, because I want to know how he's gonna come up with a justification for that. But okay.
Honestly, yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all exploitation. It's like when I was reading through the report and watching the documentary, it's basically the exact same weird spiritual abuse and manipulation, the same kind of language that like abusers that have power in Christian spaces use.
Mm.
Basically the exact same kind of language and excuses and rationalizations.